Is there anybody out there?
I do not know what happened. I started a stream, started playing the video, and then bang, it says event has ended. It's like, no, it
Did
hasn't.
it just happen again?
It might have. I don't know.
Let's see if we're on YouTube.
I don't know. I'm trying to find. I need a new video link now because the old
It says
one.
we're live.
Yeah. Okay.
There's two of us on here, and Azo 64 is back with us.
Okay. Wow. That, and when I first got in, it
64 is back with us.
Okay. Okay. Wow. I heard you twice. Oh no. Okay. We don't want that. We don't want that.
No, we don't want that. As a matter of fact, we don't want that.
I think Restream must be doing an update or something.
Yeah, Restream's a little messed up.
It's some weird shit to us. Anyway, but now we live. Now we okay. We're good. My goodness. Anyway, so how are you, Scott?
I'm doing pretty good. We're trying to get my house sold, and that offers some headaches. Like I had a literal migraine, which is right when these real estate people were supposed to come in and do an inspection, and plus the dogs were in crates barking their heads off, so that didn't make it any easier. And now I have to do a bunch of paperwork. Yep. So other than those tiny little headaches, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, so Uncle Bobby from Gin and Truth lost his dog last night from congestive heart failure, and that is just a terrible thing. I feel bad, but Uncle Bobby has some great, remarkable broadcasts, and
yes, he does.
Not having a good day. I feel bad for him.
He is like unfiltered fire. It's just
yep.
He tells it like he sees it, and he throws in some F-bombs in there ever so often. And
every so often, you mean like every sentence?
I was under-emphasizing that just a little bit, downplaying it, but no, it's very refreshing to listen to him do his thing.
Yeah, listen to somebody that doesn't give a shit about the YouTube algorithm is refreshing. Okay, so we got Willie is with us. Johnny hasn't shown up yet.
We haven't gotten Johnny back yet.
Yeah, he's still waiting on the other thread.
Yeah, he could be.
He's confused.
Yeah, they look alike, and it's just hard to tell sometimes what the technical issue is.
So we got 4 watching this stream. How many do we have watching the other stream? We only have 1 watching that stream, so we lost everybody.
There's Johnny.
Yeah, we found him.
Here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny. So for the last couple of weeks, I guess, or week and a half, I've been listening to the what I want to call the Wootard clan. And that's what I call them, the people that, have to have the woo. And I can't understand what the fuck their motivation is, because there are as many varieties of idealism as there are seemingly philosophers or philosophinis. So they all have their own variety. And it all involves, the human mind. The human mind is so remarkable. It's so special in the universe. It's so special that the entire universe is made of human mind. It's like, what the fuck did you just say? What the fuck?
Well, instead of making Mother Mary or the Lord Jesus Christ their sacred focus, it's just been shifted to the human mind or the universe, maybe nirvana.
The human mind. It's big. It's so cosmic. It's just like it. Obviously, it created everything, and they're no different than the God people. It's just that they have a different name for it. But then the God people, I guess they're a little less honest, because what they're really saying is that God has a human mind, and everything is so special because of God and his human mind. And it's like, oh, but then doggies have mind now too. So doggies are special, until he takes a shit on the sidewalk and or jumps up and cracks the neck of a hummingbird. Then yeah, he's still special though because he has a human-like mind.
Actually, isn't it praying mantises that kill hummingbirds?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was Snack.
Oh, Snack might do that too. But yeah, I was watching a video about different predators that we never think about, and one of them is the praying mantis,
Yeah.
and how it goes after hummingbirds. But that's neither here nor there. That's kind of a diversion there.
Yep. YouTube. Oh, there's a YouTube.
I don't know how many times I've mistaken hummingbirds for like giant bees or something.
Oh yeah, they scare the shit out of you when they fly by you.
Yeah,
It's like, that's a really big bee.
I'm going to probably have to admit at some point, like I'm old when I insist on putting out a hummingbird feeder so I could sit on the patio and watch it.
Yep.
Watch the hummingbird, or maybe sit just inside the kitchen or something and look out the window and watch a hummingbird go after the feeder.
Now, the head of the Wootard clan is named Bernardo Kastrup, and I have a video by him, and he's really, really kind of an interesting philosopher because he's not without some arguments, but every argument he's making, he doesn't even realize that he's making an argument for what I would call secular Buddhism. But anyway, according to Kastrup, it's all mental. And all the mental stuff in our heads, it's all mental. And the mental stuff that we see inside our heads, like if you look at a tree, you're not really looking at a tree. It's already there because it's all mental, but it's not in your mental mind. The tree is actually in the big mental mind, which is everything in the universe is all mental. And that's the big mind. And we have little minds because we have dissociative personality disorder. Or that's how he explains how I can't read your mind, and I can't read the mind of the universe when I'm not looking at the tree. Okay, the tree is still there, but it's in the universe, the cosmo mind. So that explains his idealism. And he talks about objective reality agreeing totally with science, and he even believes in evolution. And somehow evolution created these dissociative personality brains that humans have. And I get lost after that. And and he reasons everything up to that point. But when you get to the point that you and I are both looking at a tree, and we both have disassociated personalities, so you see one side of the tree and I see the other side of the tree, but the big mind has everything, the whole tree, including our minds inside of it. So the big mind sees the tree 360, right? Does that make sense?
Well, define makes sense. I understand, I think, what you're trying to say, or what
Okay.
he's
Yeah.
trying to say.
Anyway, that's Bernardo. Anyway, so let's say what Bernardo says about when we die and the meaning of life, which I think is kind of cool because he loves to pick on materialists, and materialists are just so naive, and it's and materialism and physicalism just logically doesn't work. There's no way it works. And the reason he said it doesn't work is because when we see the tree, we have a copy of the tree inside our mind, and the only way we can talk about the tree as physicalists, if we can get our measuring sticks out, we can measure the tree and come up with an abstract quantity for the tree. Therefore, physicalism is false. That's what he says. That's what your mom said. Right? Anyway.
Your mom is false.
Okay, I have to cough up a lump. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit of Bernardo.
Okay.
Bernardo knows everything. He's like a cult leader. So. Oh, we got some
So the
music.
Big Bang, the very beginning, in the past. What about the future? What about our death, the most certain event in life, which is coming for all of us? What does analytic idealism tell us about death?
Wait. On April 15th, there's another certain event. I don't know what he means by the most certain event.
Yeah.
Anyway,
He's just talking about one of them.
yeah.
Particularly the first person perspective of death. What do we experience as we die?
Nothing.
Now, there's good and bad
Okay.
news. I'll start with the bad news. One of the main social psychological reasons why materialism has taken such a fundamental hold in our culture since the late 19th century, it's because it did away with the greatest fear of humankind throughout almost the entirety of our history, which was the fear of what we will experience after we die. In Christian language, are we going to go to hell? This
Okay.
Well, fear of death. You're talking about taking away fear of death in terms of like morphine or something like that. You can be administered morphine at the end and not feel pain or indignity or
No,
something like
he.
that.
I think he said that materialism. The reason we're materialists is because we've taken away the fear that we might go to hell. I think that's what he just said.
Okay, fear of hell. Okay.
Well,
Well,
how else do you interpret this? We'll go back and listen to this again because
fear of death, fear of the unknown of what's going to happen, just the fear of dying is in one way, it's always been 100%. That's the death rate. Um, but dying sooner, dying of debilitating disease that you don't have to die of now because of medications, treatments, and vaccines. Um, that's a bit lessened. But when somebody is brought face to face with their mortality, when a doctor said, "Oh, you've got cancer and probably only have 6 months to live," yeah, there's fear with that. We haven't done away with fear of death in that sense.
Well, okay, listen to him again.
one of the main social psychological reasons why materialism has taken such a fundamental hold in our culture since the late 19th century, it's because it did away with the greatest fear of humankind throughout almost the entirety of our history, which was the fear of what we will experience after we die. In Christian language, are we going to go to hell?
Okay, well,
This
Okay, so he's saying that if you're a materialist, that you're afraid. The reason you're a materialist is because you're afraid of what'll happen after you die. But listen, motherfucker, Bernardo, materialists don't believe that anything happens after you die.
yeah, it's as a materialist uh, or a person who kind of leans towards materialism anyway. Um, yeah, um, it's the type of dying more than the what happens after death. That
Right, and Christians and idealists and everybody has to deal with how you die, right?
yeah,
I mean, if you die a horrible death, you're all going to deal with that. There ain't no philosophy going to get you out of that. So he's basically saying that we're actually all believers,
and
but we're so afraid.
it's actually the evangelicals for the most part that get a lot of observations that they seem to be more afraid of death than your atheists. That's kind of an observation that's been made. I
Yeah.
don't know scientifically if a good statistical survey and analysis has been done on that issue, but yeah, you're pretty okay with death unless it's impending, and the only thing that well, I don't want to just repeat myself over and over, but yeah, there's that whole idea of the quality of death. I don't think Christopher Hitchens, when he was dying on his deathbed of the cancer, the brain cancer that he had, I don't think he was crying out in fear and shaking with all sorts of trepidation at the prospect of his death. I would have to read more about his deathbed, but that's not what I remember about around the time that happened. He was okay.
Yeah.
Because death is just the light turning off and not coming back on again.
Anyway, Spooky and Icarus have joined us.
Hello,
You
Spooky.
guys, and there may be some others. B.S. Lewis.
We've got Dave out there. I wonder why he hasn't clicked on that link you sent him.
Oh, I didn't send him a new link.
Oh,
Probably sent on the. Oh, let me just let me do.
Yeah, there's a reason for that, Dave. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties.
Well, should I just put it out there? And anybody
Sure,
who
go
wants
ahead.
to join? Anybody who wants to join, talk about this. Okay, but you see what? Now, this is the thing that really kills me about Bernardo Kastrup, is a lot of his arguments apply equally well to secular physicalist Buddhism, okay, and a lot of his extensions. And right here, he just turned the whole thing inside out. And one of the things that he claims physicalists do is they turn everything inside out. And I'm like, I think, Bernardo, you're the one turning things inside out, because I'm not afraid of what happens after I die, because I'm a physicalist. I'm a materialist. It's Leo. Hi, Leo. I didn't even know you were in the side chat, Leo. Anyway, okay, do you know Bernardo, Leo?
Yes, I'm quite familiar with Bernardo.
Oh, you are. And what do you think of Bernardo's philosophy?
It's very interesting. I certainly don't hold to it, but
Yeah.
at least the guy's a naturalist. At least he was last time I checked.
Well, not actually. He thinks it's all mental.
Well, yeah, he's an idealist, but he's also idealism and naturalism are not opposed to each other.
Yeah, he accepts science. He accepts everything about the natural world, but he thinks it's all mental, which
he's an idealist.
Which I'm still trying to get my head around. What does it mean for something to be all mental? I mean, if it's all mental, what does that fucking mean exactly? Like, if I see a tree, apparently something about that tree is mental? What part is that? The part that I'm experiencing a tree inside myself, I guess, my first person point of view, that I see a tree, but I don't understand how that makes the tree all mental.
Yeah, one question for me is, do idealists, when they say mental, do they have a different basic concept than a physicalist?
Do they have a different concept of mental than a physicalist?
Yeah, I mean, are they operating under
usually? Because most physicalists are probably going to consider the mind, to be some sort of emergent functional feature of physical substrates, processes, functions, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas an idealist is probably not going to understand mind or mental things that way.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is mental to an idealist? I mean, what does it mean to them? For a physicalist,
I don't know. I'm not an idealist.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's listen to what else he has to say here.
Singular fear, the biggest fear in human history, has been used by governments and power structures worldwide to control civilizations, to control societies.
Yeah, okay. So somebody says, okay, if you don't obey the law, we're going to kill you. It's duh.
It's the single most dominant fear in the history of humankind. And materialism did away with it, because you will not experience anything after you die. There is no hell. There's no heaven either.
Materialism did away with the possibility that the government can threaten to kill you and control you that way. I don't think materialism does away with that. Can anybody explain that to me?
I have no idea. I mean, unless he's trying to say that under a materialist ideology, it's going to be harder to control people through fear, because what is there to fear? I mean, nothing happens after you
Yeah,
die.
it's true.
Whereas in the
Unless-
past, religious organizations would often use claims of what may happen after you die to scare people and control them.
Yeah, but fear of death is still pretty real for every human being on the planet, every dog on the planet, every bird on the planet. I mean, I don't see where he got that from. That is, to me, really stretching things.
But
When
there
I
is no hell.
when I did my sea monsters episode, I said, "What's worse than being eaten by a sea monster? Being eaten by a sea monster for all eternity, if that's what you believe
Oh,
in."
yeah.
So,
Or being eaten by a sea monster with dull teeth.
yeah, when you have the fear of the eternal punishment, it does reinforce things a lot more in the psyche.
Yeah. Can you imagine being eaten by a geriatric sea monster who has to gum you to death?
Well, that's a lot what a lot of the stories like about hell are, that you go through something and then it just starts all over again. So you
Yeah.
get digested or acid or fire or whatever it is, and then it starts all over again. It doesn't end. It just begins again and again and again.
You know who the best people are to
And hey, Leo, how you doing?
Hi.
you know who the best people are to imagine hell? 10-year-olds. Because I remember being 10 years old and trying to figure out what a just afterlife for like criminals, murderers, and rapists would be. And we could spend hours just coming up with the most bizarre punishments. It's like hell is a 10-year-old thing, a concept for 10-year-olds.
You'll get yours.
Yeah. And this is how you'll get it. We'll pour acid on an open wound or something, and it won't heal.
And you can't, and nobody will hear you scream. And
Exactly.
This is Kastrup's book, Why Materialism is Baloney. And
Why
It's
can't they say why materialism isn't ribeye steak?
I don't know.
Why do they have to say baloney?
Yeah, what are the I like bologna, particularly with mustard. It's really good with mustard. I don't know. Anyway, okay. So let's see.
There is no reason to be anxious about that great, scary unknown, because there will be no subject there. Someone said once, where death is, I am not. Where I am, death is not. And that's a materialist axiom, or a materialist theorem, if you will. Unfortunately, under analytic idealism, your core subjectivity remains as you go through the process of death and even after, because your core subjectivity is the core subjectivity of nature. It's what exists. Where is it going to go?
Okay, that's where I mean he is exactly the same. He has the same message as a secular Buddhist who believes that basically you're not really alive at all. You have no core subjectivity. So your core subjectivity isn't going to change when you die, that there isn't going to be anything there. But he seems to think that there's something that you take from your first person existence, that there is some core consciousness or subjectivity. In fact, that's what all idealists believe, or anybody that doesn't accept that the physical is identical to the mind would believe. But he's just sort of like, he turns a lot of things inside out in his arguments, and it's interesting.
Can I read something for you,
Yeah.
for you guys from his website?
Yeah, go ahead.
Analytic idealism is a theory of the nature of reality that maintains that the universe is experiential in essence. That does not mean that reality is in your or our individual minds alone, but instead in a spatially unbound transpersonal field of subjectivity of which we are segments. Analytic idealism is one particular formation of idealism, which is based on and motivated by post-Enlightenment values such as conceptual parsimony, coherence, internal logical consistency, explanatory power, and empirical adequacy. It's a formulation that will appeal to intellectually hard-nosed, left-brained, science-oriented people, but isn't the sole formulation of idealism. Although committed to idealism in general, Essentia Foundation considers analytic idealism in particular just one of perhaps a number of viable idealist formulations.
Yep. Yeah, so
but spatially unbound transpersonal field of subjectivity of which we are segments kind of makes me laugh, I'm not going to lie.
yeah.
Word compost.
I mean, it's just like he goes through and he describes everything physical. He describes what physicalism is, and he said, "Oh, but it's all mental." it's like everything jives with physicalism, but it's all mental. But then when you get down to this idea that it's all mental, that's where I think it breaks down. But he never quite gets that far into it. I'm about halfway through his book, a little more than halfway, and so far he has not resolved a few problems that I have with the idea that it's all mental. Because he believes. Go ahead.
Have you seen his debate with Sabine Hassenfelder?
No. Oh my God! Really?
Mm-hmm. He also had a debate with, well, I guess you could say a debate with Graham Oppie as well.
With Graham Oppie. Oh, Graham Oppie, a physicalist?
Yes, and a naturalist.
Oh my goodness! So, what did you think of the debates?
I've only watched about half of his discussion with Sabina. It's pretty good. It's nice to see him actually discussing with a physicist about these things. And
Yeah.
the one with Oppie was really good too.
Okay. Oh my God! Let's see the mind blow. Let's see where.
So did he do more than just make assertions in those debates? Because that's the thing when I hear Bernard Kastrup speak, it's just a lot of these pronouncements, but no real definition of physicalism, no explaining his terms or showing that he understands what physicalists say and mean. But then again, it may be simply because I don't have a full comprehension of either physicalism or the kind of idealism he's pushing.
Okay. Here's his comeback. Apparently on Hassenfelder digs herself into a deeper hole. I don't know. Okay, they're going back and forth about their debate. Oh God, Leo, I wish I'd seen this before I started talking about him because I like Sabine. Anyway, it'll be interesting. I'll try to link these things, and I also found the debate just now. So let's see, where are we at? Oh, why have I not found the debate? I thought I found the debate. Yeah. Mind-blowing theory that challenges everything we know. Is that the name of the debate?
No.
Or is that a comeback? Well, I think it is. Because, okay, so I'm looking at it right now. And this is this guy, Theories of Everything with Kurt Jamal or something like that, or Jay
Yes.
something. Okay. But then we have Sabine and so he is this the one you're talking about? The
Yeah.
debate you're talking about?
Theories
Okay.
of Everything with Kurt Jaimungal or whatever, the mind-blowing theory that challenges everything we know. It's like an hour and 15 minutes long.
Oh my God, I can't wait to get off this stream so I can watch this. Very exciting. Okay, I want to hear some more of what he says about the meaning of life.
Life and death happen to it, within it. Life and death are events in core subjectivity.
Hey, Dave.
Not the beginning and
I wanna speed
end
this
of
up.
core subjectivity. So the core
Oh,
subjectivity.
don't do that. I
is
won't
the thing
understand
that
it.
remains when you are in an ideal sensory deprivation chamber, completely amnesic. That thing that remains
I can't
remains through the reassociation process that we call death. So there will be someone there. There will be something there to experience. And the greatest fear of humankind is back. That's the bad news.
Why would you be afraid of like the fear of death for me, I think is like, I won't get to have any more hamburgers.
It's not the death part; it's the dying part.
Yeah, the dying part is the bothersome. That's also bothersome. Yeah, but I don't know where he's getting
Now,
this.
the good news is we go through a reassociative process every single day.
Every single time I do mushrooms.
When we are asleep and dreaming, we are dissociated internally. We identify with our dream avatar, not with the cars and buildings and streets and trees and other people in our dream. We think those things are other than us because we are the dream avatar. When we wake up from a dream, we realize that actually it was us doing the whole thing.
We realize that we are the tree. We are the tree? Or no, we did the tree. Like, wait a minute. Okay. The tree is in my mind, but it's also in the big mind. And then when I wake up, the tree is going to be there in the big mind because now I will be the big mind. I don't get this kind of thinking at all. Do you get it, Leo?
No.
No. Okay. I don't understand how it all comes together.
If he's talking about dreams, as far as the brain's concerned, then it might as well be physical. But when you wake up and try to climb the tree, it's not actually there.
Right. But then when you die and you wake up and you become the uber mind, which is I think what he's kind of talking about, you would see the tree from all different perspectives across all of time for the entire existence of the tree, and you'd see all that at once. The thing I think they miss is that the whole thing about mind is not that it sees things, it's what it cuts out of your vision, right? Like when you see a tree, a big part of the perception of the tree is the fact that you cannot see it all at once. You cannot see it at the microscopic level. You cannot see through it. You cannot see the inside of the tree. You can't see everything all at once. Your mind, your perception is basically something that filters out most of what's going on, except for what is, left as your percept. Now, that's an interesting way to look at what he's trying to say. He's trying to say that somehow your mind is going to experience everything, but if you experience everything, then that would be sort of the same as experiencing nothing at all, which is what materialists believe about death. So I don't know.
We were doing everything, not only the dream avatar, we were the whole thing. And the moment we wake up, our dream avatar dies. He's toast. He's dead. He's gone.
Wait.
Right.
Wait.
What the fuck?
Well, that's what I agree with. Yeah, that's what I just said. When you wake up, that is over. It's like watching a movie. It's over. Yeah,
but the tree ain't. Just my dream avatar gets to die. So, like, my dream avatar is kind of like what I'm interested in keeping around. That's why I eat healthy and work out because I kind of fucking like me.
Does he talk about lucid dreaming and stuff, or
no? Well, maybe at some point. I'm sure he's gone on about it, but
we have a request from the audience. Speed.
What is it?
Look on the screen.
Oh man,
somebody wants us to roast Chalmers.
Oh yeah, Chalmers roasting. That's what we need to do. Roasting Chalmers is a little more difficult because Chalmers actually invented something called second order, not logic, but something else. Like Chalmers, it's really difficult to keep ahead of that man. For one thing, he's fucking brilliant, and he's brilliantly wrong about the mind, and we'd have to get one of his books out and do some Chalmers roasting, but. Chalmers is the guy who said something at a conference. He got famous for it. Then he realized that physicalism is correct, but he will never tell you that because his whole shtick depends on the hard problem of consciousness. So That's one way to roast Chalmers.
He,
I don't think
he,
Chalmers
sol-
believes
he
Chalmers.
solved his problem. He doesn't want to admit it.
Doesn't want to admit it, right? Like if you
2
read
plus
his books,
2 is 4. Oh, don't tell anybody it's 4.
if you read his books and he gets into phenomenology, he does a really good job of explaining away his own position. And then in the next chapter, he will conclude that he did not explain it away, and he'll go on and explain it away again. And he does this over and over, and I'm like, what the fuck? Jeez, I don't know. Anyway, Chalmers roasting, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Plantinga? How do you say Plantinga?
Plantinga. Alvin
yeah.
Plantinga.
Plantinga, yeah.
I hear everybody say Plantinga, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I would say
Oh.
Plantinga.
Plantinga.
Plantinga sounds like a drink you would order down in Mexico. I think.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
brand
yeah.
of. It sounds like a brand of nuts.
Plantinga.
That too.
Plantinga. Okay, so Plantinga, and he came out of the Husserl crowd, I think, and yeah, I don't know.
But nobody goes around mourning the death of their dream avatar every morning.
I do.
Because you realized that you were
feel
it,
bad.
but it was not you. In other words, you were the superset. Your dream avatar was something you were doing, not what you are. And the same applies, hierarchically speaking. We can transpose that one level up in the hierarchy of nature and say it's the same thing regarding life and death.
Okay, can we pause real
We
quick?
are altered.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think about this statement about what we, when we're dreaming, what our dream is what we're doing. But what we're doing in our dream isn't really doing. It's thinking about.
Yeah.
It's imagining. That's not the same as doing. I mean, yes, imagining is a kind of doing, but that's not what your dream is about. Your dream is about like being in a flying car and skimming the treetops or whatever, things like that. But in my brain, it's just a system of chemicals that are stimulating a non-reality based ongoing image in my mind. So can what he said about a dream avatar actually be true? Is that a true statement he's making?
Yeah, I don't think I have like an avatar when I dream. I mean, I'm immersed in my dream as if I'm remembering something that happened to me or something is happening to me. But I wouldn't call it an avatar. Well, I guess my view of what I think of myself is an avatar. This whole thing, that we have a personal identity is nothing more than an avatar. And you can give it up under certain under certain conditions. You can give that avatar up entirely and just experience.
Yeah, if he's like comparing a dream to like a memory,
Well, he's comparing a dream.
then
to
then I could kind of see it, but it's still you can't go back in the memory and climb a tree that's no longer there anymore because it got cut down.
Yeah, well, the Buddhists will say that you're basically the universe dreaming that you're you, and there's a little bit of truth in that. And when you die, that whole dream just disappears, and you kind of melt into the background. But the idealist, I think, wants to take away some core idea of consciousness. Like they believe that there's a core to consciousness, whereas physicalists like myself believe that if you strip away the content of consciousness, there's nothing left. There is no core thing. Consciousness is just all a whole bunch of different kinds of content. So, but he believes there's a core, and most idealists do.
And he's playing off the mystery of what consciousness really is, because it's hard to explain exactly what it is. So he's got a god of the gaps to fill in a blank.
Yeah. So are you reading Consciousness Explained, Dave?
I just got it.
Okay. I was spotting
I
through it
lit-
this morning.
when when I showed you the picture yesterday, I literally just got it in the mail. So
It's been many years since I've read that book, but it is
looking forward to it.
yeah. And God, Danny got a lot of shit for that book. And then in his newer book in 2017, I forget what that one's called, on Bach, something to Bach. What is it? Let me see.
Wasn't it from
Love
like
it.
bacteria to Bach or something like that?
Bacteria to Bach, yeah, yeah. Dennett spends a great deal of time just being humorous about some of the criticisms that he's gotten, and about how he's going to be criticized again for his new book, because they call it Consciousness Explained Away. But he did a really good job of with a lot of his intuition pumps or whatever, his thought experiments, of explaining why anytime these philosophers start talking about the mind, they automatically adopt a dualist attitude. And if you adopt a dualist attitude and then start arguing from there, of course, you're going to conclude some kind of dualism, some variety of dualism, right? That there's the mental and the physical. And he does a really good job of that. And I think a lot of people miss the point of Consciousness Explained.
Did you watch his live stream on Closer to Truth?
Was that just the other day that it came out?
Yeah, that's that link I
Yeah.
sent you on the.
Yeah, that was I watched most of that. He's slowing up a little bit. He's getting a little old,
Well, yeah,
but he's still pretty bright.
yeah.
And
Yeah, he was talking about the new book, so I said, well, I better read his last one before I check out his
which
new
book was he talking about?
one. Let's
Bacteria
see,
to Bach was 2017. Does he have a newer one?
I've
Oh, let's see, Daniel.
I got it on my list.
Latest book. Let's see what he's got here. Let's see. I've been thinking. Yeah, is that the latest one? I've been thinking. Oh my God.
I've been
I was
thinking.
gonna say,
Yep.
didn't he just have it? Yeah,
Yep.
isn't that brand new? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I got it by.
The hardcover is $34.20.
Is there a soft cover available, or a Kindle?
There was a Kindle, yeah. I don't think he had a paperback.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get.
I got paperback on the other one though, so that
Yeah.
wasn't too bad on the duckies.
Yeah. I wasn't aware that he had a new book.
Yep.
Did you read my book? Did you read my book? Who said that? Who's
Well,
famous?
he kept mentioning, the last book, so I was like, well, I guess I'll get that one, because if he's mentioning it a lot, then you're kind of lost if you read the new one. So
Yeah. Yep. Anyway, okay, let's listen to some more Bernardo. What's happening?
Or dissociated dream avatars. And I think we don't have any reason to think that when we die, our reaction will be any different than it is when we wake up in the morning and our dream avatar is dead. In other words, I don't think we will go around mourning the death of our individual self.
No, because we're going to be dead. What doesn't he get about that? I'm not going to be mourning my avatar.
In this great play of life. Beyond that, I don't know. Only the dead know. And they haven't come back to tell me.
No, they don't.
So it's a great
They're
mystery.
dead.
And we have to live with it. And it's scary. But there is one thing that we got back together with the great fear.
You know what's really scary? Funerals. Funerals are scary because they have dead people there.
I got one in the morning, and the neighbors was the other morning. I've got a week of death here. Two funerals this week. Yeah, my uncle they're having the one thing today, and then the church services tomorrow. So we're all going to that tomorrow. because it's
Yeah, I
out of
remember
town,
when-
so it's kind of hard to go to both.
Yeah, I remember when I was a real little boy, my uncle Ivor died, and my dad and mom brought me up to the coffin, and I saw my first dead body, and it just never it haunts me still. It's just such a horrible stillness. I hate how dead people are really still. I don't like that part. They should animate them a little bit. I mean, they could put a little thing on their hand so they wave at you, like hello, hello.
Well, with more cremations though, like with my brother, we had the memorial service, but there wasn't actually, you know, a body or anything. So
Yeah. Anyway, so Leo, do you think about philosophy of the mind much?
No, not really.
Oh,
So, what philosophy do you think about the most, Leo?
Metaphysics.
Metaphysics?
yeah. Well, doesn't philosophy of the mind kind of get there eventually?
Well, philosophy of mind involves like metaphysics naturally,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they're not the same thing.
Yeah. What kind of metaphysics do you like?
Leo's
Well, I mean, I like the subject broadly, but usually metaphysics of science, foundations of physics, things like that.
Leo's getting
Yeah, I
geared
like-
up for the first week of November, right?
Of course.
Looking
You're
forward
what?
to it.
What are you doing?
Didn't I tell you?
No.
I'm going
What?
to DebateCon 4.
Oh, you are.
Mm-hmm.
No, you did not tell me.
And guess who I will be debating there?
Who?
Eric Hernandez. Guess what the topic will be?
Oh my God! Are you kidding? The
Guess what the topic
right?
will be?
The
Is
mind?
there a soul? So effectively,
Is there a
yes.
soul? Oh my God! You're debating Hernandez. Holy
Mhm.
shit!
He's not the only one I'm debating. I'll also be debating Destiny.
And Destiny. Wow. Eric Hernandez. Okay, his main man is the guy who wrote the book about the soul. What? Somebody just covered him. Oh God! Why can't I not think of names? You know who I'm talking about?
I don't think I do, no.
Yeah, it doesn't come to my mind.
Really? Well, I have to. I'm sorry, but I'll find it. His main man is a guy who wrote a book called Body and Soul or something like that. Hernandez. Eric Hernandez. You ought to read that book because that book has all of Hernandez's bad arguments in it.
I'm not gonna read that book. It sounds really fucking boring. I'll just go back and watch like 3 of his debates. And I already have a layout of how I'm gonna approach this. I'm gonna lay out 2 problems that dualist perspectives that the soul is usually related to have. And then point out that I would suspect that humans and as well as their consciousness fit within our fundamental framework for physics. I don't know why I would expect there to be an extra something that lies beyond that.
Why the hell? Everything I Google now, I end up with music, with bands, band names, music. Jesus, give me a break. There's a book. Anyway, okay, I'll play a little more of this while I search around here.
And that is meaning. Because although materialism got rid of the greatest fear of humankind, it also got rid of the meaning of life. Because if subjectivity is an epiphenomenon of material arrangements, and eventually all of your thoughts, all of your emotions, all of your insights, all of your wisdom that you've accumulated at great cost with great suffering through life, eventually they will all be gone and they will mean exactly nothing.
That's Ken Ham.
So we get rid of the fear of death, but we get rid of meaning. Under analytic idealism, on the other hand, the contents of your dissociative process, all the insights, all the maturity you've acquired at the cost of unspeakable suffering through life, because suffering is an intrinsic element of life. All of those gains are not lost. They are released in a broader cognitive context. They are made available to the mind of nature, to mind at large. And
A
ultimately,
lot
all
of
of it,
declarations that have no support.
there is a meaning to that. There is something, not something, there is, all of it is, remains present in the fabric of.
Yeah, I don't like that. That's when he said, if you don't believe in God or an afterlife, your life has no meaning because when you're dead, it's over. That's the same thing Ken Ham says. He basically says, yeah, if you don't believe, then your life has no meaning at all. And it's like, well, sure, your life has plenty of meaning. It might be over when you die, but you can have plenty of meaning. You can, Leo's gonna go debate, and
Yeah, but
AJ might get out his paints today, and you know what I mean. But people have meaning. It's not meaningless just because you don't believe in an afterlife, and whether there's an afterlife or not, you can still give your life meaning. It's not an either or thing.
well, the thing is that all of us do believe in meaning after we die because we take care to leave a good footprint, right? I mean, we
Karma.
care about what people, what our loved ones that live longer than us, we care about them right now. So, I mean, we do have meaning after we die. And I
To a
don't
point.
understand.
Well, with karma, your karma lives on in others that shared your experiences, but eventually all of them will be gone too.
Yeah.
So there does get a point where the karma isn't around anymore.
Trying to figure out why I keep coming up with a singer named Eric Hernandez. We sure it's Eric? It is Eric, right?
Yes, Eric Hernandez. Try Eric Hernandez, PhD.
What is going on?
Or put
Did
YouTube
Did he get a
YouTube in front of
seminary
it.
PhD?
Yeah. And why I can't find the Soul book. God, I can't think of that guy's name. I've got the book here on my shelf somewhere. Body and Soul. I think it's Body and Soul.
So, Leo, what event did you say you were going to debate at?
Debate con. What was
Debate
it?
Con.
The modern day debate con, the big shenanigans.
Didn't they do that here in Fort Worth last year?
I think he's trying to make it an annual thing. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I thought it was like more like in the spring or early summer. So that this time it's in November.
He may be trying to do more because they're popular.
Yeah.
James, that's, he's all in on that. So he puts a lot of time and effort and contacting all kind of people. And so.
Oh, let's see. Where? My goodness.
Yeah, Leo found out like about a month or so ago he was talking about it, and I saw the posts go up just recently. So,
Well, that's awesome.
I got my notifications on. So looking forward to catching Leo. Always like watching Leo's debates.
I hope he debates the crap out of them.
Oh, what am I doing? Not for nothing. Consciousness. The forgotten.
The skies have cleared here, so cross your fingers. Maybe I can get the telescope out later.
Oh,
have you checked your feet for
It's windy as fuck here.
Hooves?
Yeah, it's pretty. The cold front's coming, Leo.
Like the gusts, I think, are like 40 miles an hour here today. Like it is windy as fuck.
Yeah,
and it's only like 50 degrees outside. I think it might be a little under that. October has arrived in Iowa.
Yeah, I was watching Ryan Hall. There's a big, gigantic cold blob that dropped right down in the middle of the country.
Yeah, I saw that. Doesn't quite go down too far to our area, but
I'm bringing my plants in. I have to have the rest of them in by this evening. So they're sitting on the picnic table. I need to wipe the pots off and everything and bring all my tropicals in because otherwise they're going to get all wilty looking when it dips into the 40s.
Anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. I got to get ready to go someplace, but I will be listening for the remainder of the time that I am at my house.
Okay, good.
Leo.
Thanks, Leo.
All right, Leo.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Let's see. Okay, James Fodor, I think, is the one that did the thing on the guy that wrote the book that I'm trying to find. Let me see here. Where's the videos? Okay. We watched it the other day. I think you
He was
brought it
in
to
his
my
car
attention.
driving. Was that the one?
Yeah, the car driving one. Okay,
Okay.
so that was live, wasn't it? Let's see here. Reviewing, capturing Christianity. Car stream on mind and dualism. Okay, that was the one. Okay, the car stream. So he was talking about the guy,
J.P. Moreland on Mind Dualism.
J.P. Moreland. There we go. Thank you. Damn, took me a while to find that. J.P. Moreland is Eric Hernandez go-to. The book that J.P. Moreland wrote is everything that Eric Hernandez says, except Eric Hernandez says it less cleverly. He does a really bad job of it.
I think James was asking for a link.
I put the link out there. In fact, I sent you a link. No, maybe I didn't send you a link, James. I put it out there. Let me put it out there again. Invites a guest. Let's see. You know, the whole thing. What I started talking about in the beginning is this whole thing with idealists, with the it's all mental crowd. It's exactly the same as the God crowd, and they use exactly the same arguments, and they're all like, oh, these materialists are so naive, they're so dumb, they just don't get it. They don't realize that there is a soul, that everything's mental, that there is a God, blah 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 blah, and then they try to project that the only reason we believe in it is because we're too afraid, like afraid of what? It's just like, afraid of hell? Apparently, no, we don't believe in hell. Afraid of annihilation, afraid of life after death is what this guy is saying. No, we don't believe in life after death. We're not afraid of what happens after we die. We're dead. Not a problem. I don't. I mean, they project a lot, and try to. Well, that's ad hom argument, basically. They're saying that because of our fears, we have the philosophy that we have. Because of our fears, we don't believe in God. Somebody should let James in the room. Where's my co-host?
Hey there, guys.
Hello,
James.
James.
Sorry, man. I only have one screen anymore, so if I'm looking at YouTube, I can't look at Restream.
Yeah, I understand.
Somebody make a damn comment so I can pin this link. Anyway, James, what do you think of this? Have you listened to this guy so far? James?
So I've only listened to the parts since I walked in the room. I didn't pre-watch it. No.
Oh, but I mean, I think it was. Did you hear the part about materialists are afraid of what happens after death?
Yeah, I heard that part, and it's weird that I have fears I don't even know about. So good thing he
I
told me.
know, really.
Good thing he told me.
Now I won't be able to sleep tonight. Put all these thoughts in my head. Gee.
I'm afraid, I'm afraid of the. I'm not actually going to be scared of death until like 2 or 3 months. When the worms start to get me, then I'm going to really freak the fuck out.
I mostly get sad because, like missing. You okay? If I die, I'm not going to be able to see my wife and my kids and my dogs and my friends, and you start. It's like a sad thing. It's like I'm not going to be able to talk to them anymore.
Yeah, but
That's,
what's cool about that?
but
It's just as soon as I think of that now, the first thing I think of is, hey, I'm going to call my kid.
Yeah.
right.
You can see them now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the important part about dying.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to have a chocolate malt. Go get a fucking chocolate malt. Go get one. Don't worry about what's going to happen after you die, the eternity where you won't have chocolate malt. Go do it now.
It's like if you're diabetic and you don't want to die of diabetes-related illnesses, and having a chocolate malt will make you that much closer to it.
Yeah, diabetes. Your toe falls off first, and another toe falls off, then your foot falls off. It's a pretty fucking bad way to go.
Yeah, my poor mother, when she was dying, really kind of had it bad because her ability to take in oxygen was just, slowly decreasing, and so the whole time she felt um, very claustrophobic and uncomfortable all the time. It's really not a cool way to go.
No, that would have been a special kind of hell.
Yeah, yeah, and so in that way, if you're a materialist or an atheist of some sort, then you just don't. You just kind of. I can't wait for that to happen, and I won't feel anything anymore.
So Pipeline Audio predicts that Destiny is going to wipe the floor with Leo. What is Destiny? What I remember him from long back, but I'm not aware.
Hasn't Destiny been on that Theist Helpline a lot?
Yeah, who's he wiped the floor with? What is his shtick? He's a Christian or what?
I don't think he is.
So what is he? An idealist?
Not sure what he is.
I can't remember what the topic was supposed to be between him and Leo.
It's going to be the mind. Definitely, if you're talking Eric Hernandez, it's going to be about the. Oh, does the soul exist? Does
the soul? Yeah,
That was Eric Hernandez, but
the other one
same
was
topic with Destiny.
Destiny. Yeah.
Here's
Leo's in the
Destiny.
chat. Leo's in the chat. Something about socialism.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't know.
Destiny. Well, he's live right now. Destiny is. So who the hell is Destiny, and what's his deal? Welch attacks Destiny's community after coalition. I don't know what a Destiny is, but he's got like almost 1 million subscribers.
That was my
Leo's
understanding. It's like a Vouch type show.
Yeah, baffled by self.
Opinion show.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I have watched him. He's does a lot of political stuff. So
Right.
So Leo, is Destiny going to be arguing for the soul or against it or what?
No, I think that's the Hernandez one.
So yeah, I think he was a gaming streamer. I just don't know what his beliefs are.
Yeah,
views or
Destiny's
whatever.
a streamer.
Oh, I thought Leo was debating them both at the same time, but he's going to debate them sequentially. So, yeah.
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 I think it's like at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock or some kind of hours like that.
Oh, he's not debating Destiny about the soul.
Yeah,
he's
no,
He's
that's
debating someone else
Hernandez.
about the soul.
Yeah,
What do
that's
you-
Hernandez.
What are you debating Destiny about? Socialism? Oh, Leo.
Oh, he's a political streamer. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
It's like a Vouch type show. Yeah.
Anyway, Leo,
Vouch.
JP Moreland, his book is worth at least going through and looking at the highlights because all of Hernandez's arguments. Hernandez made an argument with T Jump. T Jump is debating Slimy Cordova.
Oh boy.
Yeah. You sent that link, didn't you, James?
Where's
I
my
said that.
Where's my voodoo doll at?
Yeah.
So when is this debate?
That one's pretty quick, isn't it? Like coming up?
Is it a modern day debate?
Yeah. Oh my God, so much happening. But anyway, yeah, so
Yeah, so when it comes to the soul, like I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I mean, it's a made up religious concept anyway, so you can just make up anything you want to about it. So
well,
it's like ghosts and spirits and anything else. You can just make up whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But most of the time when people talk about soul in the context of what we have right now and what's functioning with us right now, to me it just sounds redundant, right? They're just taking some hidden facet of our psychological mechanisms and displacing them to say, oh, some part of your mechanisms are happening with some other kind of an energy or substance that's attached to your normally physical structure, right? And I'm like, why? It's so redundant to even suppose that that's the case. Because if you, and I've made this point before with theists, if you suppose that there's something called the supernatural, it still has to be physics of some kind, right? It's some kind of an energy doing some kind of a thing,
Yeah.
right? That's physics. I don't care what you call it. It can be a completely different kind of energy than ours. It can be an older kind of energy. It can be separate from our universe. I don't care. If it's an
Mental-
energy that
mental
exists in
energy.
reality and it's doing something, it's physics, right? And so they're just creating a problem instead of solving a problem when they even propose that nonsense.
Yeah, when they call it mental, what they're kind of saying is that, oh, it's not any of the kind of energies that we physicists know about. It's some other kind of energy, but it is a kind of energy. You're correct. But the thing is, they keep moving. They keep moving the marker into things that become increasingly difficult to comprehend, and then they call it God or the soul or mental. But idealists would claim that there's something else happening besides what is physical. That the brain, your brain and body couldn't possibly give you this first person perspective. There has to be some other essential core thing. Kastrup calls it the core self or whatever, or the core subjectivity is what he calls it, that you always have. And it's like, it's all the same bullshit. I just don't. Oh, we got to let deconverted man in the room. Deconverted man.
What's up? Hello.
Hey,
Howdy, howdy.
you here to
Howdy,
straighten us
howdy.
out? You here to straighten us physicalists out? No.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Everyone's wrong but me.
yeah, I know. I got that from you.
Oh, and deconverted man. I wanted to remind you, you were saying that your elbow is still bothering you, but you did not have a piece of black wool. Remember?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right. I did it.
So
I did everything wrong. Yeah.
That was on you. You were responsible for doing it. So
I know. It's just,
Are you being double afflicted?
well, no, he
Oh
was
no,
laying,
it wasn't
he was
my
laying
elbow. It
it.
was my entire arm.
He was laying it back on me that it didn't work, and I
Look,
said,
I
you had to, he
I
had to
did
do
the
it.
whole thing wrong.
He just did it wrong. Yeah, so
Deliberately wrong. I'm not glowing. It's really weird. I don't like that. I don't have a glowy circle around me. I don't know. Oh my god! What is that?
This is Bernardo Kastrup's metaphysics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you got happy face, sad face. That looks
these
like
are
a face.
Yeah, these are
Huh?
disassociated personalities, and this is the Cosmo God. So this is Cosmo God up here, and all these guys are part of Cosmo God, but they don't know it. So one of them's unhappy, and two of them are happy, and then when they die, they just go poof, and they become part of Cosmo God. I think that's it. So
All right.
Hillary's
Sure.
emails is here.
So physicalism. It's like dualism, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, except he's not a dualist. He's a monist in that he believes it's all mental. There's no physical. So that's how he gets
Well,
around.
but the mental would be. Yeah. Jeez.
It's all mental. So what is this mental stuff that people keep talking about? I don't understand mental. Like right now, I can feel my toes, my feet. It's all physical. I can see things.
Yeah,
physical.
it's you're feeling it in your brain, which is physical.
Well,
So,
you don't feel things in your brain.
No,
That's
it's just information. That's all that mind is. So when it's difficult to explain.
yeah, because like I feel the pain in my arm, but
You're sensing it.
Yeah. It's my brain is telling me that's where the thing is located. Really?
Uh-huh.
No, actually, you're not feeling the pain in your arm. There is pain. That's it. There's
Well,
nothing.
you're receiving a signal.
No, you're
Yeah.
not
Yeah, it's
receiving.
just-
Okay. As soon as you say something is receiving or viewing or experiencing, you are automatically inviting dualism in the door. All that's
I think
happening is there is an organism and there's some pain going on.
Mm.
Well, I think it is dualism. I think that it's just I forget the term now, but like an extraction. That once something gets big enough, extra characteristics come in. Do you know the word? Oh, emergent. I
Oh,
think the mind,
emergence.
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Emergent property. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't
So I
think
think that's what's going on with the brain.
you need that. Okay, it's like you are a phenomena. Like you are a little piece, a little whirling vortex of physicalism, right? And there's a hell of a lot going on in our bodies right now,
Hmm.
and possibly even a lot more going on in our heads. So you're like a whirling little vortex, and there is pain in that. Something that vortex like when you experience something, what you're necessarily doing is you're remembering something that happened a moment ago, and you're abstracting it. And that's
Hmm.
why humans are so confused by our own brains, because we have neurons that are in charge of other neurons. So we can abstract away things, right? Like we can take things that are happening in our mind, like a thought. We can remember a trace of that, and we can create a higher construct that abstracts that away. And that's what confuses humans about their own minds. The fact that we can, in some way, we have these feedback loops, right?
Hmm.
But when you look at it, like what's really happening, when you abstract away and say, oh, I'm in pain, what you're talking about is something that's already happened. It's already gone by.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you may still be feeling the pain, and that may still be part of your mental, your whole first person structure. And that's where it becomes confusing, because you can talk about what happened a moment ago, 200 milliseconds ago. And and that's all it is. We are very complicated little whirling vortexes. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree.
And
A
we're always
whirling,
experiencing like however many milliseconds ago because of light and everything. So
Well, 200 milliseconds, because it takes about that long for your brain to get with it and start, basically doing something with what's already happening.
it's also interesting. It's like when you touch your toe with your finger, that your brain decides to wait to give you the message, so that it seems like it's happening at the same time,
Yeah,
rather than
yeah.
you should feel your finger before your toe.
I was going to bring that up. Yeah, if you touch your toe, basically I think it actually takes about 300 milliseconds or a half a second, or even longer, for that signal to get to your brain. And your mind kind of puts it all together and makes it all happen at the same time. That's why Daniel Dennett, in his book Consciousness Explained, has a little graph. I'm going to try to find it for us. I think it's on page 161. But the thing is that we don't experience time like physical time, right? Moment after moment. We take some things from the future and merge them with some things from the past, and we call that the present. Are you guys aware of that bit of neuroscience?
I'm not sure what you mean by the future, but pretty much I agree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I guess probably shouldn't have said future. Uh, like we're happening, like everything that's happening to us is our, as far as our
Yeah.
mind's concerned, because of the 200-second delay, we can never experience the present. It's
Right.
always 200 seconds old. But we
Yeah.
even do worse than that. I mean,
Uh,
we collect things like with a brush, so that we bring together time into the moment. And what we're actually experiencing is several different instants of time, and I cannot find the damn diagram.
yeah, you're
Uh,
right. All our brain is doing is just computing. It's getting all the sensory input and trying to push it together and form some sort of a construct. And that's why, like, if you start stroking your hand, or like that experiment where they put like a little sheet between your hand and your eye, and
Yeah,
then they rub your hand, and then they start rubbing like this plastic thing, and you still
Hmm.
think that you feel it.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it's because we're organisms.
The other thing is like with dualists or broadly theists will say the mind rather than say the brain. And it's like the mind, they're treating the mind like it's its own, separate thing.
Substance, yeah.
And it's like,
They bring
no,
you-
it's not. Yeah.
But when you're trying to develop an intuition of mind, it's a really good idea to do away with the idea of representationalism. Like there's this theory that a lot of physicalists hold that when you see something, when you're looking out over a landscape, that you recreate that landscape inside of your mind. But there's a lot of reasons why that's not true. There's definitely a lot of cortical neurons firing in your visual area at the same time, but you're not recreating it. You're experiencing it as we are used to experiencing things, and you're adding a lot of flavor to it that isn't really what's happening at all.
Well, I think back, there was a moment where time seemed to slow for me.
Yeah.
And that was just like a whole cool thing. It's like, man, why can't I like do that on demand? Because that was really neat. But at the same time, I did pass out afterwards, so maybe I don't. Maybe it was an overload of stuff. Like,
not a good.
Because like the next thing I knew, I was like on the ground getting up. I was like, what? Huh? What?
Is adrenaline the only chemical responsible for time dilation?
It's probably a big part.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm guessing there are more. I've been listening to Sapolsky on Behave, and he likes to explain that no, neurochemicals aren't that. Like we give these neurochemicals special properties like dopamine and oxytocin, and he said no, it's a little more complicated than that. So I'm guessing that time slowing is a little more complicated.
Yeah,
because it didn't really slow. I mean, it was just for me.
Yeah, but what causes your neurons to be able to work more quickly to focus like that?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh,
if I'm getting angry and I'm thinking I'm in a fight, I don't have time dilation. If anything, I have less time and less memory.
Yeah, there's a cocktail, acetylcholine and adrenaline and a big cocktail involved. Along with that, you're getting a lot more oxygen at that time. You're unlocking a lot more energy, so things are going to seem to slow up. I was in a bike accident when I was 15 years old, and the whole thing seemed like it played out over a half an hour. I was like, I was going about 60 miles an hour on a street in Austin, Texas, and it had just started to rain, and the dust was on the street. And I slammed on my brakes, and I remember looking at the curb, and the curb was going backwards, and they didn't realize I was still sliding. Like I slid for about a block and a half. I wore the ass out of my pants, knocked myself out, got all bloody, and it was like it all happened so slowly. And then I got up in this intersection, and I picked my bike up, and then I was down on the ground again. Apparently, I passed out. And then I remember this woman driving by, looking at me, and her head turned really slow. And then it was just amazing. I could see everything like time had slowed up. It was unbelievable. That's the only time that's ever really happened to me that powerfully. Where
getting hit by a van when I was on my bicycle is burned in my brain.
Yeah,
I have that. The old style vans, with the flat end with the big grill.
Yep.
Just that grill just coming at me. It was just knocking me over. It wasn't bad or anything, but I dreamed about that grill coming at me for probably a year after that.
And then somebody I'd heard or read was talking about that during brain surgery they can poke your brain and make you feel angry or whatever, and it's like that's
is cool, is that what happened to you, Deconverted Man? They poked a little too deep.
Probably.
Love you, man. Love you, man.
You're fine. All right, that's okay. So okay, I know where you live. Wait.
I got the portal. I got the portal open. All you gotta do is show up.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
I've been looking for aliens every night.
No aliens.
Well, I went
yet,
out. I went
no.
out the first night, and then I went out the next night, and because we were working on my son's car, so I was out there cussing and everything because I was working on a car, and they had to know I was out there. So then the weather was crap last night. We got rain, so but maybe tonight I'll do a telescope. I just talked with a Kentucky atheist. We might do a stream later on Farmer Josh because
I think
too
that they're
much.
scared of skeptics. That's what I think.
Well, you remember we did the Farmer Josh, right? Well, I got back to number 4, and I got so many notes. Mike, you're going to be happy. This thing is just cannot be skipped through. We're going to have to tear it apart. So,
Oh, cool.
he's got so many things wrong. It was just I couldn't. I filled up half a notebook.
You're not going to speed it up?
I'm not going to speed it up.
Okay.
Maybe just a hair, maybe like 105, just to fair use it. But no, so yeah. Ka and I might go through that because he's been wanting to do something. So
Yeah, I once again have to go. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Everybody has to go.
See you later.
Have to go.
Thumb up and like this video. Whee!
One of the things about that I've heard about ADHD people, and it's definitely something that afflicts me, is that we don't hear audio at the same rate that other people hear it. So if you take a kid with ADHD and you give him verbal instruction, he's going to skip every other sentence if you do it very quickly, because you're always processing the last sentence when the next sentence comes, because your mind tends to go in 15 different directions at the same time. Anyway, that's the problem I have with people that speed up videos. I just can't. It's like, wait a minute, what?
I've got I got this problem when I'm taking notes. I tend to start with the second letter.
Oh yeah,
I'm in such a hurry to write my notes that I'm always skipping the first letter.
Yeah.
I'm always starting with the second letter in the word. I'm so far ahead of my hand.
Violence apologetics? What the hell is that? Violence apologetics.
I guess saying the violence is good.
Antifa?
Like Fight Club. Yeah.
Yeah, or not Antifa, but
Oh no, that's
Proud
Antifa.
Boys?
You got it.
Okay.
Them too.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I don't. God damn, there's been some shitty things that have happened recently in Twin Cities area. That violence, and in New York, where that guy stabbed that other guy. I mean, it's like, what the fuck are people doing this stuff for? Why
People
would you
are crazy.
Why would you go out and hurt somebody like that? I don't. What does it get you? Well, you get into jail.
Yeah, they don't have any respect for themselves, and so they don't have respect for others. So they just want a thrill.
But I mean, Christ, you end up in jail for like the rest of your fucking life.
Yeah, they're not making long range plans very well.
Yeah, here it is. I finally fucking found it. Oh my God, what is? Daniel Dennett in Consciousness Explained. And of course, I read the book like 10 years or more ago, and
I'm behind.
I'm trying to read it again for
Well,
your benefit.
I always enjoy listening to him, so I figured, well, I should read his book. So I got his book. So.
Yep.
I can't just read deconverted man's books. Got to expand my horizons a little bit.
By the way, Speed, I thought it was real clever. The thumbnail that you chose was the word materialism or physicalism, and then just a little sketch of a ghost.
That was actually a thumbnail that I stole from somebody else. I want to play that video. He said it's neither physicalism or idealism. It's God. Basically, was his deal.
Oh,
yeah. I thought
that sounds like the ghost then.
Yeah.
It's more like the ghost, yeah.
Yeah, more like the ghost.
Oh, no.
Okay, here's Dennett's diagram. The one that really struck me 10, 15 years ago when I read this book. Basically, this is like experience time and objective time. So you experience time in this really loop back manner, and that's why when you touch your toe, you feel both at the same time, because your experience time is sort of it's a swath of time that just runs along, like a brush. So we basically go through time with a broad brush, and that's how we experience things. That also explains qualia. So I don't want to do that. I did not want to highlight that, Daniel. Okay. Anyway, you get what I'm saying here? Preaching to the choir.
Actually, I don't understand the experience time curve. I apparently
Oh,
you feel like you experienced something.
Well-
I don't know. I don't know.
okay. So objective time, you have events 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And if we were a physicist and we were looking at your brain, with a really good instrument, we would see things happening 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, 3 millisecond, 4 millisecond, right?
Okay.
But then when it comes to what you experience as your first person experience, you might take something from way over here on 7 and loop it back. Well, you can't look ahead, but basically you're always running behind. So you've taken everything from C or G all the way to I, and you've combined them together, and now you're going to experience them out here in J. So it's going to take you 200 milliseconds to experience the past, but you're going to drag with it about 1 second or even 3 seconds from the past into one particular qualia. So what you feel is going to be something like basically what impinged on your brain for a long time. Like when you look at a bookshelf, okay, there's going to be not only the light that's coming in right at this moment. Well, you're not going to see that for 200 milliseconds, but when it gets to 200 milliseconds, you're going to also see the light that came in from a second before. So you're accumulating it all.
Okay.
And you're saying, I see more than I actually see. Because when they get right down to it and start measuring your brain, they find out that there's a whole lot of shit that you couldn't be seeing that you think you're seeing. And you're sort of accumulating it all.
That was something Dennett was talking about in that video with in Closer to Truth, is that magicians exploit these things.
Yes.
And that's why they can do something right in front of you,
right.
And you do not see it.
You don't see it. Yeah. Or you don't think you saw it. Your brain probably picked up the light waves and it's in there.
Yeah, they are.
You didn't make it salient. And you didn't bring it into the picture. And the thing about qualia is like, okay, you are a thing with, you have about 300,000 signals impinging on you at any given moment. And not only that, but you're accumulating the signals from, a second ago or even 3 seconds ago. Well, my mom held a grudge for many years against, what's his name? But anyway, so you're accumulating all of this experience, and that gives you this rich feeling of qualia. Like the quality of seeing red isn't just the red light. That isn't all there is to it. You're feeling everything from your body and all other parts of your mind all at once, and it's all knitting together to give you this like rich landscape, which we call qualia or qualities. And that's my theory anyway of qualia. That's one of the... Nothing is unconscious. Everything is impinging on your mind, and it all gets knit into this first person experience that we're having.
So what I find real neat with the magic is that, like, if you watch Penn and Teller's Fool Me, they know what to watch for. And like we were watching it last night, and the note was one to the other was that we should have been paying closer attention because they got distracted by the act and they missed the trick. So he got the trophy. He fooled them because even though they knew what to look for, he still got them distracted and they missed it when he did the sleight of hand or whatever he did. And
misdirection.
it's amazing. Yeah, even those guys, those guys are studied experts, tops in their field, so to speak, in magic and conjuring and whatever you want to call it. They know exactly what to look for, and yet they can still get fooled.
I remember going to a magic show in Hot Springs, Arkansas one time when my son was young, and I tried so hard to find, all the tricks or whatever, the sleight of hand, but every time I guess I got distracted or something or misdirected because I couldn't spot anything out of the I don't want to say out of the ordinary, anything wacky, anything that would qualify as sleight of hand. It's just it becomes an art that people become expert at.
I went to a Matt Dillahunty magic show down in Austin. That was pretty interesting because he explains a bit of it, and he makes the skeptical part of it part of the show, and he does a pretty good job.
Oh, I like those kind of acts. Now pay attention. Yeah. Now, I want everybody to pay attention. See this thing right here I'm holding in my hand?
Yep.
I'm going to make this disappear. I want you to watch and pay attention, okay? And yeah, they're kind of telling you everything they're going to do, and they do it anyways, and you still didn't see it.
Yeah.
I love magic. It's fascinating.
Anyway, I've been sort of bent out of shape about this. What's his name? Joshua Rasmussen with his idealism and his Christian idealism, and Kastrup, and it just keeps coming. And the thing is that if there ever is a day where we divest ourselves of Christianity, of the Christian myth, if we quit, which is basically a Greek myth reworked, if we get rid of that, we're going to have all these woo-head crystal people and fucking idealists, and it's never going to end.
Well, and the big argument there was 500 witnesses. Okay, that's Paul's big argument. There was 500 witnesses. Okay, well, Penn and Teller can pack thousands in a house, and have how many millions watching on TV, and we still are all fooled. We cannot believe our own eyes, and we would be terrible eyewitnesses to the event because it wasn't true.
We should write a book right now on Penn and Teller and wait for 2,000 years and see if they can figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hold it against people for what they may have believed they saw, or they may have believed in a story from an implanted memory or all those other things, because one thing we're finding out over and over is you never know, what you're getting back from the brain. You could have had a powerful dream. It's implanted as a false memory. And some people think they were hit by a bus and they never were, just because they had such a powerful experience in a dream.
Mm-hmm. I had a really great experience a couple of weeks ago with false memories. I did one on purpose. Basically, I rewrote a memory.
Okay.
And hang on a second. So I took a traumatic memory from my youth with my father that had popped up and kept reoccurring, and I decided to rewrite the narrative. And I did it with the help of some psychotropics. And I managed to rewrite that memory, and over the course of the next week and a half, that memory, my relationship with that incident completely changed from a trauma to something that was very surprising. Instead of hating my father for what happened, I ended up feeling this great love for him. And all I did was I decided on purpose, I'm going to rewrite the narrative. Like when I go through this memory again, I am going to tell that man what I think of him. And it had this, and it happened over the period of maybe 2 or 3 minutes. That's all I did.
Right.
And then for the next week and a half, that memory became an entirely different, it had an entirely different feel to it. It was no longer threatening at all. So I took a trauma and I fucking did something. I fixed it. And I'm like, what the hell just happened? Absolutely amazed. I've got a little video that I did on it. I think Scott watched it and he suggested I don't play it. But
And if you reverse it and reinforce it, and people are telling you, yeah, that's what happened, you can do the
yeah,
exact opposite and traumatize yourself over something that never actually
right.
happened.
Yeah. Get all fucked up again. It was pretty. It was just an amazing experience, and somebody suggested it to me. They said, "This is possible. Try this. Set an intention. Go ahead and take the medicine. Go through the experience and see what happens." And I did, and it was like right after, like the next day, it was like, "Oh, nothing happened. I didn't do it right. Whatever." And then over the course of the next week and a half, it just started to just manifest itself. I thought it was pretty amazing.
What class of psychotropic did you take?
Psilocybin.
Okay.
8 grams dried. So, let's see here. I'll play it for you. See what you think. I don't know. I think it was like a really powerful experience that taught me something about how much power I have over my own mind. If I, choose to fix things, whatever. It's kind of raw, and I recorded it in the morning, but let's give it a try. See what you think. Where are we here? Okay, I'm trying to get my shit together. Okay, I'll play it. 5 minutes? Maybe I should speed it up. Oh, I'm not talking. 1 week ago, it's October 1st. So 1 week ago, an 8-gram experience, and my goal and intention at the beginning, and I prepared all day for this, was to have a new conversation with my father, the father that I remembered in some traumatic scenes that kept popping up in my memory over the course of the last year. Well, shit, over the course of the last 70 years or 60 years. I'll speed this up. Anyway, I wanted to reframe that because it was very upsetting, and it gave me a feeling about how I felt about myself and how I felt about my father. So there were like two characters in my imagination. Myself and my father, right? My father was this powerful, mean, ugly, angry man, and I was this dumb little child who had no power at all over that situation. And I remembered one particular scene standing with him as he opened the car door on a very old car. I guess I was about maybe 8 years old, 7 years old, I'm not sure, maybe 9. And we were coming back from a bar where I'd had a conversation with some of his friends about philosophy and life. And complicated situation. Anyway, over the course, okay, so I had this conversation with him, and I actually yelled at him and told him, fuck you. You're dead, for one thing. You're very tiny, for another thing, because he appeared like a little tiny character now in this new conversation I had last Sunday, a week ago. And then a weird thing happened. Like, it didn't seem like anything happened that night, right, during the experience, but over the course of the week, something happened where all of a sudden my father became the right size, like not a big man, not a little man, just a man. And I became the right size, a full-grown man, big as my father, healthier, Last memories of him, he was dying of cancer, weighed about 70 pounds. And a surprising thing happened. I started to feel this tremendous love for my father. I mean, I wanted to hug him. It was like he was a friend of mine, same size or smaller, or, whatever. I wasn't threatened by him anymore. And he became somebody I really, really cared about a lot. And that's been going on kind of at an increasing volume all week, where I'm starting to remember really good things about my father. And now, anecdotal, right? Enough of that. But yeah, then I go on to explain that, well, maybe it was a placebo effect, but who gives a fuck if it was? It worked.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever it was, it worked. And it was the most profound, and I didn't expect to have that like love for him pop out of that experience. And it was and it's still going on. It's been about 3 weeks now. So it's just like, what the hell happened? It's really cool.
The last thing I said to my dad was stick it, and I didn't speak to him again, and I regretted it.
Oh shit.
But I was mad at him because he didn't, I didn't see him again. He didn't come see his grandson or anything. I was kind of mad. But then, after time passed and I kind of realized some things and what was going on with him and everything, he just had enough one day and he moved away. And I've had some issues and some days where I just came to realize sometimes you just get that feeling where you're like, screw this, I'm gone. You know what I mean? I'm gone. I'm starting over somewhere else. And that's what he did. He wanted to just leave this behind and go do something and start over somewhere else. So he went up to Canada. And so, I've kind of changed my mind, and I'm not mad at him anymore. I'm sad that we didn't get to spend any time together, but I've come to realize, that it's his life. You know what I mean? He made a decision that he had to leave and not come back. So that was what he did.
Yeah, I think what came out of this experience and the reason that I started to really feel this tremendous.
But mind you, he didn't do this to me when we were kids or anything. We were grown adults, okay? I didn't want to not put a deadbeat dad on my dad. My dad always took care of us, so this was later in life. So
I think there's an element of forgiveness, and forgiveness is kind of weird. When you put yourself in another person's shoes, when they were doing the thing they did to you, and you start to see how you could have done that yourself if you had been of the same, mindset. Then you get this, like, all of a sudden it all comes together and you no longer really feel this horrible hatred for them. You just feel like they're a thing that did something, right? And you feel no more passion about it than you would about, a tree that fell in the woods in front of you and hurt your foot. It just doesn't. It's really weird, but it's kind of a neat process. And I think this is the essence of what psychotherapy is supposed to do in unwinding trauma and stuff like that. And of course, it helps to have a healthy dose of psilocybin.
Well, and it's always better not like I say, I was like, F him. And then now I'm like, it's more like, I wish I would have talked to him, because now I can't. So unless my portal works, we'll see.
Yeah, I watched some stunning things with my siblings complaining about my father. And at the same time that they were complaining about what a horrible thing my father did to me, I watched them do similar things to their children. And it's like, how in the fuck does that work? If you don't come to this forgiveness, you will repeat the cycle over and over again. Karma.
My uncle passing away, it's all in my mind, and tomorrow I'll see that side of the family and everything. And of course, my dad will be all in front because that was my dad's brother. So,
yeah. Wow. Yeah, shit. When my dad died, they called me and told me he's getting real close. You better get up here. I had to drive like 200 miles, but I was in the middle of solving a bug in a piece of software that we were going to release so that it could be reviewed by what was then a big magazine, 1982. And I had to get this software done for this review. And so I delayed going to see my father. And by the time I got there, he was unconscious. And God damn, I'm kicking myself in the ass. But the ironic thing is 10 years before that, my father would have approved of my work ethic, right? The fact that I stayed up for 72 hours solving this bug so that I could, make money and, get my work done. But when he died, he wasn't that same person. He would have preferred I come up there and hugged him before he went unconscious, but I missed it.
So he was in home hospice, and my wife said, well, I've got to take the day off anyways, because she had to get a heart test done. Everything's fine. But so we said, okay. So literally while I was in the waiting room, while she was getting her test done, I got the message that he passed. He didn't hold out another few hours. Maybe we could have got up there to see him. So I felt bad, but I mean, like you said, it wouldn't have changed anything. And, sometimes things have to be done. Like, she had to get her test done, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to fuck up when it comes to somebody dying. I mean, there's always going to be a little guilt for everybody that we lose. It's a bit. You just got to deal with it. You do the best you can right now. Like
I guess I'm lucky because with my family members, each time it was like it was time, and like my grandma's 103, and she's been praying for death since she was about 97.
Wow. You would. There was a thing on what the hell is his name? Kimmel? Jimmy Kimmel?
Yeah.
Did you see that skydiving woman?
Yeah, I did. 104 or something. She's trying to break the world record.
Yeah, and then he basically makes a joke out of it that she's screaming, "God, why can't I die?"
Yeah.
You would get a kick out of that video, I think. Like, so your grandma's 103?
Yeah.
Awesome. Still kicking.
Yeah, she's in a wheelchair now because her artificial hip came loose, and so she can't use her left leg anymore.
Yeah, they don't build them to last like they used to, right?
Well, they lasted a long time. Lasted until she was over 100, and then finally, about a year or so ago, she fell and it broke loose.
Oh, damn.
So
and then they don't want to replace it because you're old.
Well, they couldn't. Yeah, they couldn't re-cement it because there wasn't enough bone in her pelvis to do it. So they're like, sorry, but all we can do is take this out so that it doesn't puncture anything.
Yeah.
Well, I say, and you want to have life meaning. I told you my neighbor lost his wife. We went to the funeral the other day, and they had all these pictures. They were married 64 years. They had a bunch of kids. There was pictures, old pictures. The old was it sepia tone pictures, and Polaroid pictures, and the old cars, and his son was saying, check out my dad's car. He had a pink Cadillac just like Elvis and shit, and it was like that was the meaning, there's the meaning, all that great stuff, all those memories. And even in a sad time, sharing them all and just, looking through the photos, and that's the meaning right there.
Yeah, every now and then, like particularly when I was a kid, I would go. There was one place I'd go down to the river, and there were the remnants of an old foundation of a barn, and there was a house, just nothing there, but just a couple of sticks from the house, and there was a wagon wheel, from one of those old time wagons that was half buried in the mud. And it was like this old homestead, and I went there. And the thing I'm getting at is that those memories, those things that happened, they will always have been. They will always be there forever. They happened. They were a real thing. And when you walk on these old homesteads, every now and then you can almost feel it. You can feel that there was a family there with the kids out in the yard playing, and mom yelling at dad or whatever the hell, or milking the cows and all that. I mean, there's just all that past on every piece of ground we walk on, and it's always going to be there. What more could you want? I mean, life is just so goddamn meaningful right now and in the past, right?
I
don't know what else.
Somebody at the funeral said, hey, that's Barb, and I was like, I didn't recognize Barb at all. And Barb was married to my boss at one time. They're divorced now, but
okay. And
the boss at the time is the one that I bought this house from. And it's like, wow, it was really cool, and I was like, yeah, we're fixing up the house. We just did this and everything, and talking about stuff, and yeah, it all comes back around. It's like, yeah, they lived here too. Their kids and their dogs were running around in the same space that mine did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's still there. There's still this, there's this whole kind of philosophy called with the object-oriented philosophy. And they talk about, like objects, like a rock or an old building, and how it has this giveness that consists of its entire past. And if you learn about that past, or you sense it, and you roll it around in your fingers or look at it or whatever, you can feel all of that past in the present object. And it's really kind of a neat way to view life when you see this depth of history in things, right?
and our ghost's just a ripple in time that's showing through.
The ghosts are there in our mind and our imagination. They can just creep out. And it's really kind of cool that we can do that we can take an object and we can see into its past and feel its past. And that's kind of critters we are. And and it doesn't matter if we're all fucking molecules in motion or atoms in motion. We're pretty cool atoms. We are really awesome what we do. So I don't know what other meaning I need out of life other than what I got right here, right now, right in front of me. So
When somebody asks me what's the meaning of life, I say, well, biologically, it's living long enough to reproduce. And in social species, it's caring for the young until they're old enough to be on their own. Anything after that is all bonus. So anything, if you lived any length of time, and sadly not everybody does, but if you lived any length of time, it's all bonus. It's all bonus.
Yeah. Yep.
So take your bonuses for what they are. And I say that we should all be so lucky. Like I say, it was heartbreaking. My neighbor was obviously very sad. He lost his wife, and I was hugging him and everything. And it's, it's a very sad moment, but 64 years together. I mean, we should all be so lucky. You know what I mean? It's a lot of people. Like I say, my brother didn't live to 50. He got gypped. I had another friend that died in a car accident when he was in his 20s. So it's a sad moment, but at the same time, it's like, what a life, he's in his 80s. He was married for 60 some years. That's a great story,
I've had 26,571 days.
And counting.
I'm good.
Well, we were hearing rumors of a 40th high school reunion next year. And it's like, oh, cripes.
We started.
It doesn't seem like it. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Okay.
We started having one every year now. The class of 1969. And we have one every year just in case.
Well, at the 30 we were talking, it's like, almost everybody is still around. And sadly, that's not the case now. So
yeah, I've lost 25% of my class already. Three really good friends were like the first ones to die. The group I hung out with.
Lost. I think I've lost more grade schools than I've lost high school, but I'm not really sure on everything. But
yep.
Some grade school buddies, I've already been to their funerals, and again, they got gypped, so I always figure every day I'm still here, I gotta, I'm living for all those that got gypped. So
yeah. And
the one guy, he was a good guy. I mean, he, when you sometimes it's just totally unfair, that the one, he was a good guy. He was a music teacher. He had all this outpouring from his students that talked about how great he was and how inspiring he was, and he passed on his gift and taught all these young people music. He was well loved, and I think he had a massive heart attack and dropped dead at like 50 or something. It's just, it's just wrong, when you see people that maybe the world would be a little better off with
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
the roles were reversed. You know what I mean? Not wishing anything bad on anyone, but gee whiz, some of the good
There's a
folks.
few people.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
you don't want to say it, but but yeah. And then you got these, great people. I mean, he was a great person. He in his free time he went to the retirement homes and played music for the senior citizens. I mean, this was a good guy, and
God, my mother-in-law, the universe is gonna sigh in relief when she goes, holy shit. Oh, she was a psychotic, fucking destructive monster. She is. She's kind of settled down now that she's older, but yeah.
we were talking. We don't know how we would have made it without my mother. My mother was always there to pick up the kids from school if we needed her to, babysitting when we had to work, and she was working at the time too, and she would never say no unless she was, sick or something, yeah, I don't know. My brother too, it was the same thing, she put a lot of miles on her car just running from school to school to school to school to school to school, and just awesome. I it would have been really tough if my mom hadn't been there.
Yes, Logan, it was 8. Anyway, so I got to get going. I've got to get ready for dinner. We're going. Oh, we found a new meat place. It's one of those places with where they come around with racks of meat and they keep.
Oh yeah, Brazilian steakhouse.
Yeah, we found one like they put a new one like just a mile or so from our house, and like we're going there for the first time tonight.
But check the private chat there. See if you can pull my picture up before you go there, Mike.
It's like, you want me to put it online here? Or? Oh, I
Yeah,
couldn't.
check it.
I got nothing on that link. I kept getting drawing a blank.
Oh, is it a blank?
Yeah. So, am I friends with you on Facebook? Or
Yeah.
I like to call it Facefuck.
Let me try it again.
Maybe it's because you're logged in.
I don't know.
I got Dave Warnick. I don't know.
Oh well. I just made a thumbnail for Leah. We are down for the 19th. Leah is a former employee of Ken Ham, and
Okay.
Leah was on Paulogia. So this will be Leah was on Paulogia, and I also had Tony Reed on my channel who was on Paulogia. So kind of cool. I'm having guests that have been on Paulogia. So
Yes. That'd be good for you. Yeah, I'm still getting a blank. I don't know why.
but Leah has an interesting story. The short of it is that the reason that Leah left Answers in Genesis was because Leah was not getting enough time to go to church.
What? Wow.
And since then, Leah has gone through a lot of forks in the road. So Leah is quite the different person now. And
Did Leah take the atheism fork in the road?
Leah went from Mennonite, hardcore Baptist. The church she went to thought Ken Ham's organization was too liberal.
Wow.
And now Leah is a free spirit, it seems.
Cool.
And her mental, or Leah's, she is they, them now. I don't want to mistake her pronouns, but Leah is doing a lot better. Her mental health and everything, we're not doing well with the Ken Ham experience. So we wish Leah well, and Leah seems to be doing great, and Leah looks forward to having a great conversation. And Leah sent me a nice picture, and that's why I wanted to show you the thumbnail. But so the theme is forks in the road and love thy neighbor, because through it all, Leah is one of those folks where you, like we were talking about, you have to have religion to be a good person and all this stuff. And it turns out Leah had really powerful religion, and Leah has not so powerful religion, but yet Leah is still a great person. So imagine that.
That's going to be on the Captive Desk channel?
Captive Desk on the 19th.
And you don't have the video up yet, right? So I can't look at the thumbnail?
I just made the thumbnail and I sent it to Leah, and I'm going to schedule it because, yeah, I just got the picture, so I just made up the thumbnail. I put fork in the road on there and some hearts on there, so it should be a nice, and Leah is like a deconverted, man. There's not ill will, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Do you like the title Secondhand Apologia?
that's I'm a big fan of Apologia. I always tell people I've been watching Apologia since the first video. I think I caught it, you know, the first day, and I watched everything, and I kept saying, you know, I wish Apologia and Shannon would just hook up, because they you know, both of them had issues and everything. And then they ended up hooking up and everything, and it was kind of like, wow, you know, and it was almost like you know, like your nephew or something, you know what I mean? Watching him grow over the years, and now he's, you know, full time with his channel and everything. And that's really cool. And you know, he's up there talking, you know, William Lane Craig and you know, all Sean McDowell and all them, and it's very impressive. So yeah, it's kind of neat watching over the years and everything. So I was like, hey, listen, a couple of people have been on Apologia, so I think that's kind of neat.
Okay, guys, I got to get out of here. So I'm going to end the stream.
I'll probably be on later.
Okay. Good
All
night.
right, guys. I'll see you later.
See y'all later.
Bye. Bye, crew.